Welcome to the annual South Dakota Department of Health WIC program Civil Rights Training. Civil rights exist to ensure that all people have equal access to the WIC program benefits and services and are not treated differently than others. By the end of this training module, you will be able to identify protected categories recognized by USDA, recall South Dakota WIC policies regarding civil rights and discrimination, define discrimination, and differentiate between ethnicity and race, and review USDA's reporting requirements. You will also be able to identify ways the WIC program informs participants and the public of non-discrimination, state the steps WIC staff must take in the discrimination complaint process, and identify ways to prevent complaints through acknowledging your own implicit biases, use of participant-centered customer service, and conflict resolution techniques. Civil rights can have many meanings. For this training, it refers to the information and practices related to anti-discrimination laws or the rights of individuals to receive equal treatment based on certain legally protected classes. The purpose of the South Dakota WIC civil rights policies is to ensure that all applicants and participants receive fair and equitable treatment and benefits without regard to race, color, national origin, age, sex, or disability. One requirement contained within this policy is that all WIC staff, including central office and volunteers, receive civil rights training at least annually. The completion of this training meets this requirement. South Dakota WIC's civil rights policies are contained within the South Dakota WIC Policy and Procedure Manual, Chapter 1, Administration. South Dakota policies are based on the federal requirements and have been approved by USDA. How did the civil rights and protected classes come about? It started with the passing of Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, enacted by the federal government, which protected individuals from discrimination based on race, color, or national origin. It states, no person on the ground of race, color, or national origin shall be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefit of, or be otherwise subjected to discrimination under any program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. Additionally, regulations have been passed over the years to expand the protected classes to include sex, disability, age, and most recently, the expansion of national origin to clarify that it includes making accommodations for individuals with limited English proficiency. WIC clinics and services must be accessible to people with disabilities, including mobility, sight, hearing, and other conditions, as required by the Americans with Disability Act of 1990. The Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990 further guides our treatment of people with disabilities to prevent discrimination. ADA prohibits discrimination on the basis of disability in employment, public service, public accommodations, and telecommunications. South Dakota WIC policy states that clinics must provide services in a site that allows access to all applicants and participants, including persons with special needs. If clinics contain steps or other barriers which make it impossible or difficult for individuals to access service, applicants or participants will be informed that the clinic is not accessible and an alternative accessible site will be offered. The original legislation for disability accommodation is Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act. WIC clinics must notify applicants and participants that they do not discriminate in the admission or access to its programs or activities. When an applicant or participant schedules an appointment, staff will ask if there is a disability that requires specialized assistance. Document a disability requiring special assistance in SD-WCIT as an appointment note and select the appropriate drop-down in the Special Needs section of the Client Information page. The definition of disability, as outlined in the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990, is a person who has a physical or mental impairment which substantially limits one or more major life activities, has a history of or a record of such an impairment, or is perceived by others as having such an impairment. The ADA Amendments Act of 2008 further expanded the definition of disabilities by adding the category of major bodily functions to the definition of major life activities. WIC clinics must actively notify WIC applicants, participants, and anyone coming to WIC about the availability of free interpreter services. The central office provides a poster with this notification in languages common to WIC applicants and participants. Display this poster in any place that the public goes and where it can be easily read by applicants and participants. This includes waiting areas at a minimum. If your space is large, consider displaying the poster in offices where staff meet with applicants and participants. Posters and other written notifications in various languages help inform applicants and participants that interpreter services are available for free. What is considered discrimination under federal civil rights laws in WIC? USDA defines discrimination as different treatment which makes a distinction of one person or a group of persons from others, either intentionally, by neglect, or by the actions or lack of actions. This may include not providing the same opportunities for everyone, for example, in training and career opportunities, treating people with less respect, denying people certain things, or offering special treatment to a protected class of people that is not offered to all. The following two slides are examples of prohibited discriminatory practices. The exclusion of persons from participation in the program on the basis of race, color, national origin, age, sex, or disability. The inequitable allocation of food to an eligible person on the basis of race, color, national origin, age, sex, or disability. The issuance of WIC food benefits in a place, time, or manner that results in or has the effect of denying or limiting benefits on the basis of race, color, national origin, age, sex, or disability. The segregation of persons in clinic waiting rooms or throughout the appointment system on the basis of race, color, national origin, age, sex, or disability. The application of different eligibility standards to potential eligible applicants on the basis of race, color, national origin, age, sex, or disability. The certification of persons as eligible to receive benefits solely on the basis of race, color, national origin, age, sex, or disability. The maintenance of a waiting list which makes distinctions on the basis of race, color, national origin, age, sex, or disability. Citizenship or immigration status is not a requirement for receiving WIC services. This issue should never give rise to discrimination. One way the federal government monitors whether there is discrimination based on race and ethnicity is by collecting data from the participants in the federally funded programs. This data is collected for statistical purposes and helps ensure that no ethnic or racial group is discriminated against in outreach or participation. Let's take a closer look at the differences between ethnicity and race. Ethnicity is socially defined. It refers to a group of people who share common ancestry and cultural heritage. They may also share the same religion or language. For USDA recording purposes, ethnicity is referring to Hispanic Latino heritage, which is a person of Cuban, Mexican, Puerto Rican, South or Central America, or other Spanish culture origin, regardless of race. When recording ethnicity in SD-WCIT, you will ask the applicant whether they are Hispanic Latino or not Hispanic or Latino. They must choose one or the other. Race is physically defined. It refers to a person's physical appearance, including skin color, eye color, hair color, bone structure, and facial type. WIC applicants are asked to choose one or more races. Let's discuss the requirements and procedures for collecting ethnicity and race information from applicants. Explain to the applicant that the collection of the information is strictly for statistical reporting and has no effect on the determination of their eligibility for WIC benefits. Verbally assess the applicant's understanding. For example, ask, "What questions do you have before I proceed?" Collect the ethnicity and race category data. Have the participant select one ethnicity, either Hispanic Latino or non-Hispanic Latino, and then have them select one or more races. Ethnicity must be addressed before race. WIC staff must inform applicants, participants, and potential eligible persons of program availability, program rights and responsibilities, the policy of non-discrimination, and the procedure for filing a complaint. The South Dakota WIC policy contains the requirements to ensure that we are meeting this expectation, and reviews at management evaluations help to ensure compliance. Let's take a closer look at each of these requirements. Written rights and responsibilities for the WIC program are provided to each WIC applicant at enrollment and at each certification as the WIC client agreement. Reasonable steps shall be made to provide the WIC client agreement to the applicant in a language that is understandable to him or her. The applicant should be given enough time to read the WIC client agreement, and if they are unable to read it, a staff person should read it to them, informing them specifically of the highlighted areas. They should also be offered a hard copy of the WIC client agreement if they want a copy to take home. When asked to sign the signature pad, make sure the applicant understands they are signing that they understand and will follow the client agreement. Contained within the WIC client agreement is the non-discrimination statement and information on what to do to file a discrimination complaint, which is required information to provide to applicants and participants. Another way the public is notified of non-discrimination practices is by including the non-discrimination statement provided by USDA on all printed materials. If the material is too small to accommodate the full statement, the material must include, at a minimum, the following statement in print size no smaller than the text. This institution is an equal opportunity provider. The non-discrimination statement is available in other languages and should be included in the language in which the printed material is written. The full non-discrimination statement should be used on all vital documents such as documents critical for purposes of determining eligibility or ineligibility, participation in WIC, or obtaining benefits. Examples include applications, consent for screening, complaint forms, notices of rights, and disciplinary action. The "And Justice for All" poster is provided by USDA to post as one way to inform the public of the non-discrimination policy. USDA requires the poster be displayed in a prominent place where it can be easily viewed and read by participants and staff. Where does your clinic have "And Justice for All" posters? Finally, Central WIC office and WIC clinics are required to conduct annual outreach efforts designed to make all eligible persons aware of the availability of WIC services and how to enroll. Ensure that the non-discrimination statement is included on any outreach material your clinic distributes. Individuals have a right to file a civil rights complaint. Your role is to direct the person to the civil rights complaint form and help them complete the form if needed. The form can be found in Policy 1.8 of the South Dakota WIC Policy and Procedure Manual. If the person refuses to complete the civil rights complaint form, they can also send all the information directly to the USDA Office of Civil Rights. The address and email are on the form. The complaint must be filed within 180 days of the incident. You should never interfere with a person's right to file a complaint or discourage reporting of the incident. This doesn't mean that you cannot clarify a misunderstanding or answer questions related to the complaint situation. The civil rights complaint must be sent directly to USDA. The address is on the form. USDA has the responsibility to investigate the civil rights complaint. The WIC clinic staff should maintain a record of the civil rights complaint. This record must be kept confidential. Notify the Central WIC office, program director, and your public health manager upon receipt of any alleged civil rights complaint. The Central WIC office can offer assistance and guidance to the WIC clinic. The Central WIC office and/or public health team evaluates all WIC clinics on compliance with civil rights policies during the program compliance review and annual clinic assessment process. During the program compliance review and clinic assessment, the clinic is reviewed for civil rights compliance by answering questions and being observed, checked to ensure the "And Justice for All" poster is in a prominent location, checked for the interpreter services poster, language poster, to be displayed in a visible location, checked for accessibility of program benefits or services regardless of race, color, national origin, sex, age, or disability. A written plan must be on file outlining how services to people with disabilities will be provided. Observed informing new clients that ethnic and race information is collected for statistical purposes only and will not affect their eligibility. If a non-compliance finding is determined, steps must be taken immediately to obtain compliance. The procedure for resolution of non-compliance of a civil rights finding during a program compliance review is that the WIC clinic must develop and submit a corrective action plan to the Central WIC office outlining the action taken to resolve the issue. The Central WIC office is responsible for follow-up with the WIC clinic to ensure the issue has been corrected. If the violation or finding is against the state, the Central WIC office must also develop and submit a corrective action plan to USDA on its findings. USDA follows up with the Central WIC office to ensure the issue has been corrected. Providing good customer service will make everyone feel welcomed and valued. Good customer service goes a long way in making sure everyone's civil rights are respected. One way to self-evaluate how you are doing with customer service is to put yourself in the other person's shoes. Did you just treat that person the way you would have wanted to be treated? It may not have been your intention when you were crossing the road for you to step on my foot, but the impact of you stepping on my foot, it still remains. Anonymous. Implicit bias means having attitudes or stereotypes that affect our understanding, actions, and decisions in an unconscious manner. Implicit bias matters because everybody has these unconscious associations and they affect our interaction with others. Although implicit biases can be positive or negative, both can have harmful effects when they influence our decision making. Having biases doesn't make you a bad person, it only makes you a human. Fortunately, our implicit biases aren't permanent, they can be changed. What do you see? What do you think your clients see? A tree or two faces? Ask questions and check your understanding with those you serve. This helps prevent misunderstandings and keeps us from misinterpreting situations and information. Take a moment and read what is printed on the slide. Sometimes it seems easy to fill in the missing pieces. However, it causes us to assume we understand the information. When you notice implicit bias, take the time to examine your actions or beliefs. Think of how you would justify them to other people. To gain a better understanding of your own implicit biases, take at least 2 of these short tests to learn about your unconscious beliefs. Use their frequently asked questions guide to discover more about yourself and your answers to the tests. A WIC participant's first interaction with WIC staff can set the tone for the entire WIC visit. If we each do our part to make that a positive, welcoming interaction, our participants will feel valued and respected. Our goal at WIC is to follow all civil rights laws and to treat everyone with fairness and respect, but sometimes there can be misunderstandings between staff and participants. This is understandable since WIC staff must also adhere to WIC policies, and these policies sometimes mean they cannot always accommodate requests from participants. When misunderstandings occur, the use of participant-centered skills will help get at the real problem and can minimize complaints. However, when there is a complaint, it is important to listen and understand what happened, identify the root of the problem, and agree on a solution. In heated confrontations, it is important to remain calm and not mirror the behavior. If you are unable to resolve the situation, obtain assistance from your public health regional team leaders. If you ever feel threatened in any way, obtain assistance from others, protect yourself, and if necessary, call 911. Threats or actions of violence are never tolerated in the workplace. Congratulations on completing the WIC Annual Civil Rights Training. To finalize your training, complete the assessment and evaluation for this course. If you need additional information or have questions regarding civil rights, contact one of your public health regional team members.